So what are we talking about? Lacuna, right? CMYK games. So this is a game in a nutshell where all you literally do, right, is you just dump this stuff out under the table and then you play your game. That's it. Now, there's a little bit more to it than that, but that's the game in a nutshell. This is more of an abstract version of I cut, you choose. 7 different flowers, 7 of each flower, majority of majority. That's the game. Now, it's deep enough that I want to play it again and again, and it's not going to go anywhere in my collection. It's simple enough at the same time, as you can see in front of me, all I do is spread out these pieces so that they're not touching each other or too close together, and I can play it with my 7-year-old because the concept is that straightforward. Now let me show you with the 2 player markers here, gold and silver, what this is going to look like with a full playthrough, my end game scoring conditions, as well as my final thoughts on why I feel the way I feel. You're just going to be taking one of your player markers here, finding one color and 2 pieces that you can connect via a straight line without any other colors in between. So for example, these 2 pinks. All I do is I place my marker on a straight line somewhere in between these 2 markers. And the trick is I can place it anywhere along this line. I can place it next to this one, halfway in between, however I want to do this. The positioning now here matters because if my marker is closest to one that does not get picked up during the setting the markers phase, I obtain it at the end of the game, which is how you're going to get the majority in the first place. So I grab my pinks. This goes over here on the gold side. Silver's going to grab this orange, so maybe they're going to be really close to this purple now. And you can start to see this is just going to go back and forth here until we get to the end. You're going to be trying to look at what the other person is getting so that you can avoid it and maybe get more at the same time. But you're also going to be trying to prevent them from necessarily getting too big of a lead. We're trying to intermix these, so we're actually going to go here to try and outmaneuver some of these golds in the middle with the silver. And so this is just going to go back and forth until all of these markers are placed. And so gold is going to try and go over here. And slowly you can see the board is going to open up as well as you place more of these turn by turn. Now, the one thing you can't do is you can't place one where there is a blue obstructing here, for example, between the 2 greens. So I'd have to choose something like this that's just not clearly obstructing. And so then I can start to get some of these as well. It's just very, very close. But you can see already I've got the 4 blue right there. That's going to give me the majority no matter what silver does from now on. Same thing here. Silver's got that majority. Gold is over here. We're going to try and take a little bit of that. Now they have pink majority as well. Two majorities each going into the final placement here. Probably not the best placement on that one, but we'll go with it. And last but not least, we're going to go here to edge this out. So you can already see as I place the last one here, gold already has the advantage with pink and light blue, whereas silver already has the advantage with the other 3. So there are only 2 colors that are actually going to decide this, and that's going to be dark blue and green, because no greens got picked up. So if we just focus on the endgame scoring here, you just need, like I said, the majority of the majority. So you need 4 pieces of 4 different colors of the total 7. And so we go and we look through who is closest. So for example, this one right here, actually just barely, it's going to be silver. Okay. This one's going to go over here with pink. Pink's already been decided though. Silver is going to grab this green one as well. Silver is going to grab this green one by far. And this is where it gets tricky, right? Where you actually, in case you don't have one at home, they include a ruler so you can start to measure out how far away, these ones are. So this one's 11, this one's 14. So silver's already going to grab this. That's the game right there. I don't even need to grab the rest because 4 of 4 is done. That's the game in a nutshell. You can gather them all up if you so choose, but usually it's not necessarily this divisive this early. You're usually going down to the wire. So why is this an absolutely fantastic game? Because that's the game I just showed you in a whole in that short of time frame. It's simple enough that anybody My 7-year-old, my 9-year-old, my wife, my game group, you can play this and people can notice, okay, well, I'm going to go in between these two. I don't need to have a lot of rules to get a lot of strategic value out of this. And that's what makes an abstract game great. And that's what gives this one staying power in my collection as well. It's simplistic enough that you can play it with anybody. It's got enough strategy that it makes you think as you're playing them every single time. And the fact that you can just throw it down and go makes it more accessible than probably 90% of the games in your collection, 90% of the abstracts in your collection in the first place. Is this ruler necessary? No, not really. You know, the container doesn't know favors. I think it's kind of, stupid, to be frank. The lid reminds me more of a coffee lid. It's a little bit of a pain to get on and off. It really doesn't add anything in terms of shaking it out versus just, dropping them by dumping or grabbing a handful and letting your kids toss them. Does not add anything in that sense. At the same time, it doesn't really need to, thankfully, either. Canister aside here, the game stands on its own 2 feet and is a great accomplishment of what we set out to want to play in the first place. I cannot understate how nice it is to see this mechanic used in this game, because I've got 2 other ones that reminds me very similarly of Tintas, which again is a 7 of 7, and a more recently crowdfunded Etaria, which is again a 7 of 7 in a different manner. And both of those are just utilizing in a slightly unique asymmetric abstract way, which makes all of them vastly different in how you're going to approach them, but all vastly accessible in different manners, which makes them all easily, keeping in my collection at the same time. It often feels like in the hobby nowadays, people look at a simplistic game in terms of the rules and they go, well, that can't be any. No, do not confuse the two. Simplistic rules, simplistic gameplay. The two are not the same. And that's what matters with this. If you have any interest in abstracts whatsoever, I dare say this is up there for me in lines of the GIP series, the Hives, the Tox, not because it's necessarily as deep, but because it gives me the same feeling when I play it that I can't wait to play it again. I can't wait to see how I can outmaneuver my opponent. I can't wait to see how the board configuration is going to give me a slight variance compared to last time and how I'm going to have to adapt to what is in front of me. And the fact that you can play it in a couple minutes at most, that is icing on the cake, folks. I cannot stress to you how much I love this game and the fact that this is going to stay in my collection forever at this point. Cloth mat is very nice. It's a very large area, so you never feel constrained when you're placing these down. It's just how much do you want to spread these out to give how much variation in the first place. Is there maybe some first player advantage, second player advantage? I don't know. Does it really matter though in the end? No, it really doesn't. That's the game. That's why I love it. That's why if you have any interest in this style of things, I think you should pick it up. Because again, like I said, this is going to be a forever game in my collection. I have no qualms about telling you that. Will I get a different storage solution? Maybe, but it is kind of pretty, so maybe not. We'll see. That's it. Lacuna. CMYK. Go check it out if you're interested. Have a great freaking fantastic day. Stay classy. Peace out.